It's a great day. My name is Che Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the number one business development and revenue focused late night show in the country where we are on a mission. And our mission really is to empower, our mission is to inspire, and our mission at the end of the day is to provide you, that's right, you, the entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And on this episode, we have the one and only Tonya Bailey, and she'll be talking about don't let fear hold you back from your vision. Can't wait to hear about that. What's going on, Tonya? How you doing?
I'm going good. How are you doing today, Mr. Brown? First of all, I want to thank you for allowing me to use your platform. I am so happy and excited to be here today.
Thank you so much. And Shay is fine. Oh, please, Mr. Shay is just fine. Thank you
Oh,
so much, by the way. Thank you to viewers. Thank you for tuning in, by the way. We don't take it lightly right now. We might be streaming on your iPad. Maybe you're listening to the podcast with the ears right now, and we're in your ears. Thank you for having us in your home. You know, they're seeing below the title, and we'll tell them how famous you are in a minute. Some of them are already Googling you. I get it. But take a moment, if you would, and when people hear the word, do not let fear hold you back, here's the question. Why are people held back by fear these days when they have TikTok so they can get excited any given day? They can go look at Instagram and get motivated, or they can go to AI and say, please tell me what I need to do today. And AI tells them everything they need to do, yet they're still fearful. So why is fear holding people back these days?
well, to me, for myself, I know for my own self with fear, um, sometimes you allow things to get in your mindset, and it causes you to think that I can't do it because it's not going to turn out right. It's not going to be, they're not going to, people are not going to grasp hold of it, or I don't know if I'm saying it the right way. So it kind of makes you fearful of doing things and putting things together. And what I learned is fear is like a threat or unexplained something that you can't explain. It's like an emotional thing. So when your emotions get the best of you in your mind, it takes over your mind, and once your fear takes over your mind, it's like, well, I can't do this because then this happens. So then when it gets in your mind, it comes out emotionally. So then emotionally, you start doing things like a behavior. You have a bad behavior with it. Now, I do know that as far as your vision, everybody know what vision is. It means to see. So when God has already ordained something already in the making. It's just that you have to step into it and allow God to do what he needs to do to show you or give to seek. You got to seek him for your vision. So he already done ordained it, but you got to pray for it. You got to go to him and say, God, I know there's a purpose for me, and I know you got something for me. So in order for me to reach this purpose, I got to write down my goals, such as your visions, what you want to do. And that way you work them goals and allow him to help you work those goals. You can't just go out here and do it yourself, because it's not gonna work. It's not gonna come out right. And that's where a lot of the fear comes. Because I know with me, when I started writing my book, I wrote the prayer journal, and then I was like, I'm not gonna publish it because what if it don't sell, or what if people got something to say? But then I said, you know what, I'm just gonna push the button, and I decided to publish. I published it, and it went. It just, people bought it, and I've heard a lot of good things about it. It helps people, and I am so proud of myself that I did do that. I didn't allow that part of fear to stop me. Now, some things that I am fearful of, like, I don't like to speak in front of people, but I'm learning to get better. I'm learning to be more comfortable about it and just go ahead and do it.
Where you're speaking now, which is super amazing. Thanks for letting us be behind the scenes on this exclusive. You talked about purpose. And what do you say to the person that's watching now saying, wow, how does someone know if they're what their purpose is? I mean, maybe this, the question is, how do people know what their purpose is from your view of the world? And what would you say to that person that says, I don't even know what my purpose is? Any guidance for that individual?
For me, I just feel like your purpose is something that you like to do, you love to do, and you don't mind doing it. It's not like stress on your back. It's I like to give. So, and I like to help people. And I know that I wear my heart on my sleeve. So when I'm into it, I'm in it. It's not like, don't do it, Tanya, but I just do it. So it's no stress about it. no thought about it. You just do it. So I always say that could be that's your purpose. But if you don't know your purpose, you seek God and you pray for your purpose.
I like that. Is it possible for your purpose to change, to kind of shift over time, or does it always stay consistent just based on your experience?
It could change because things could get better. Not everybody may. You might not have just that's one purpose that you like to do. Maybe other things that you like to do, but if you don't go out here and do them, how do you know if that's something that you like to do with no stress and no strain?
Well said. Person that hasn't read your bio, there's like, Shay, I know she's famous all over the world, but I'm meeting her for the very first time. I have no idea who this woman is, this person is. I like what she's saying. It's making sense to me. Can you slow down for a moment and have her tell us what is her backstory? Like, who is she? Where did she get started? What's her backstory? And then what was that defining moment that happened in her life? She says, you know what? My jam is helping other people overcome fear.
Right. Well, first of all, I'm Tonya Bailey, as you stated. I am from Virginia. I'm married, but of 8 years. My husband's name is Craig. Um, I am a 30-year transplant kidney survivor, of 1 year of cancer-free breast cancer survivor, and now I do peritoneal dialysis. So therefore, I started this journey when I was 11 years old, and over the years, I've learned to not be afraid to share my story with other people because I feel that other people need to know what I've done and what I'm going through to help somebody else. And when I wrote that, I wrote a prayer journal. I am the author of Pray Without Ceasing. It's a 31-day prayer journal. Also the co-author of Faith While Waiting. And I wanted people to know I wrote my personal prayers and scriptures. And then I also share a little bit about myself in this prayer journal. And as far as the other book, Faith While Waiting, I shared about my own tested faith because my faith was tested from where I started with the transplant, and then that was failing, and I needed to get another one. And in the midst of me waiting for that, I found out I had stage 1 breast cancer. So I was like, Lord, I said, you really tested my faith here, so I got to trust you. And so that's how my journey started with all this have come about, and I decided that I need to help somebody else. I want somebody to see what I have done and what I'm going through so they can see what I'm going through so they can say, okay, well, I can do the same.
And take us to that moment. What did it feel like when you first got the news? Was that something you shared with your family? Was that something you just held to yourself? What was that? What was that like initially when the person said, you know, this is what you have? I don't know, stage 1 breast cancer.
Mhm.
How were you feeling in that moment? Did you shrink back for a while and just forget the world for a little bit? What happened? Tell us a little bit about that, please.
Well, at the same time I found out I had the breast cancer, I was at the top of the list for a kidney. So when the doctor told me about the breast cancer, I looked at her and I started to cry. And I said, I'm not crying for the cancer. I'm crying for the kidney. I said, because I'm right at the top of the list. So, but then once I realized, I was like, Tom, you got breast cancer. So what are we going to do? I cried. I got upset. I questioned it. But after a couple of days, I was like, and I told my family I did do that. And I got myself together. I said, you know what? Get yourself together because if you have gotten this far, God gonna take you even further. You just gotta accept what you're going through and keep moving, keep pushing. Don't give up. Don't give in to what you don't give in. Don't focus on what you're going through. Focus on what He has for you. Let Him do His work. Let Him do the job. Because in order for Him to do what He has to do, that's the only way you can get through this with no hesitation, no problem. And so that's what I did.
What do you say to the person that's watching saying, wow, I have a family member or a friend that's going through something right now. Does she have any advice for me? Like, how can I best support them? Is there one, two, or three things that she would share with me that I can be supportive of someone else that's going through a very challenging time right now? What would you say to that person?
Well, first of all, try to keep their spirits up. Don't, if it takes for you to have to go to the doctor with them or sit down with them or spend time with them, keep their spirits up. Try to do things with them to keep them motivated and keep their mind off of, not really to say take your mind off what are you going through, but don't focus on it. Don't stay there because when you stay there, you're going to get stuck there and that's all you're going to think about is what you're going through and it's not going to be good for you. Second of all, the person that's with they have to teach them and tell them to accept it. Once you accept it, it makes it easier because it's nothing you can do. What can you do about it? Are you going to sit there and wail in it? And nobody wants to hear you welling and crying every day. Oh, I got this, I got that. But if you accept it, continue to move forward, and just be their friend, be their family member. Don't beat them up because they done. Don't beat them up because you see them doing something that you don't think they should do. Let them do it, because if you tell them no, that might be helpful for them. But if you say no, they're gonna be upset with you because you stopped them from doing something or eating something or doing or anything of that matter. So whatever they want to do, allow them to do it. But if you feel it's going to hurt them, and you know it's going to hurt them, then don't allow it. But anything else, just be their friend, push them. Just say, look, you got this, you can do this.
What do you enjoy most about what you're doing these days? You seem to be having fun helping other folks get what they want out of life. Um, what do you enjoy most about that? Why does that bring you so much joy?
Because it makes me feel good at somebody else, that I can help somebody else, because I'm not just the only one going through it. Somebody else is going through the same somewhere in this world, and they may not understand and know which way to turn or what to do or what to say or who to talk to. So I always like to reach out and talk to people, even with my job. When people will come in, I work in the medical field. I'm in the healthcare community, so I work in the medical field. When people will come in and they look at me, they're like, "You don't even look like what you've been through." I said, "Well, honey, if you only knew." And when I start talking to them, they be like, "Oh my God!" I said, and they be like, "I'm sitting up here crying and going on." I said, "It's okay to cry." I said, "But just don't stay there. You got to do better. You don't stay there. You can cry because that's what your tears for, to shed them, let them come out, because then you'll feel better. But just don't stay in that area, in that place. You have to allow yourself grace, give yourself grace, and say, look, something got to give. One thing I will say, I always speak about my faith. We walk by faith, not by sight, because you can lose track by negativity if you walk by sight. But if you believe in God, stay positive, your faith will be stronger. So you got to learn how to keep the faith and just continue to, stay positive.
Wow. What was it? This is incredible. Thanks for being so open, so transparent, getting over the
Yeah.
fear. What was it like writing the book? Was that something that you struggled with? Is that something that you tossed and turned for several years? Take us on that journey. How did you get started, and how did you first write it down and finally say, "This is it. I'm going to do it"? Because not many people start books and they get fearful. No one's
Mhm.
going to read it. That it doesn't. Maybe nobody cares, and so they got a book inside of them, and they're just so afraid to get it out. So, what was that journey like for you?
Well, what I did was I was dealing with the issue of my health. So I felt myself kind of losing faith with God. I was like, I got to get myself back to God. I got to figure out a way. So I started writing down my prayers. For 31 days, I wrote a prayer every day, and I wrote a scripture to go with it. And then I would just say, God, I say, and then I was like, God, I said, I know that you hear me, but I have to be acceptable to what I'm going through in order for me to get through it. So I started writing them, and I write my scriptures every day. And then when I began to look at the book, I was like, okay, I got to add more for people to read it. So I began to put in there how to pray, when to pray, and what to pray about. Because some people don't, you'd be surprised how many people don't realize that you're praying every day. When you ask God, say, God, help me. When you're in trouble, you always run it to God. So that's a prayer. And God don't, he's not a judgeable, he don't judge. So therefore, he created us, so he knows what's gonna come out. So I talk to him like I talk to you, because that's just me. I say good morning, Jesus, and I know that he hears me, because you got to realize and acknowledge who you are. Now it's up to you to believe it. So when I wrote this book, I wrote in that book my personal prayers and scriptures, and then I wrote about those three things: how and when and what to pray about. And also left a little bit of my testimony in there about myself. And in the back of it, I add area where you can write down what you're thankful for, because some people don't have journals to write. That gives them opportunity to write down and go back and look at it. That gives you something. Once you read it, you'll go back and look at it. So that gives you, that's your goal setting, so that once you write down and say, God, I'm thankful for this, or thank you for doing this, or forgive me for doing this. That way you can go back and realize you know and look at it over and over again to say, okay, well, this is what I done.
I love it, by the way. And the journal that you've written, that you put together, and it's something that you offer as well. Does someone have to be consistent every single day in writing that journal, or can they be sporadic? What's your recommendation? I know I've had sometimes I'm on track and off track and on track and off track and on track and off track.
Well, my
What's your
recommendation is just
recommendation?
I recommend you don't have to write in it every day. Just write in it when whenever you need to. Whenever you feel like you want to write. You're not saying write it every day because you have to the journal is not so big, so you can't write in it like every day. You try to write in it a little bit at a time to save some space, or that's the way I feel.
I love it. And one of my favorite questions to ask when we have time, we have some time now, is, of all what's one of the best pieces of advice you've ever been given? And I'll frame it for the audience to kind of understand, when I ask you come off the mountain with the 10 commandments, by the way, that you've had an opportunity to probably have many mentors along this journey of life. Sounds like you've read many books along this journey of life. You probably watch countless videos these days. You might not be able to count track of all the videos you even watch. But if you had to step back and say, you know what, here's one of the best pieces of advice that I've ever been given that I want to share with the audience, what would it be and why?
Never give up. Never give up. Keep pushing.
Wow.
That's it.
Yeah. Just never give up. And for the person who did give up, or they slowed down, or they on pause right now, so I didn't give up, I'm just on pause, what would you say to that person?
Just keep going. I mean, I know you're on pause because I've been there. I've stopped and I just picked myself back up and continue on. You just got to keep going. Just don't get discouraged. Don't get discouraged. Just keep moving. Just try to just keep going.
Mm-hmm. Are the
Just don't
affirmations
get
that
discouraged.
the affirmations that you kind of tell yourself as well, in order to be able to keep going, or is it something that comes natural to you?
It's just I say trust God. My trust God, and you can do it. Hmm.
I love it. With that being said, what do you do for fun these days when you're not out saving the world, when you're not out writing books, and you're not helping people push forward and so forth? What do you do for fun?
Spend time with my family and my husband. I like to, I like to. One thing I do like to do is shop, but I don't need to do that. But I do like to spend time with family and spend time with my husband, and just to, enjoy company, fellowship with people. I go to church on Sunday, and I love to go to church. I like, it's not like big stuff here in Virginia that we get to do, but we do find things to do.
Are you happy? And that's the most important part. To come down the home stretch, a two-part question. Number one, where can people connect with you? If they say, hey, I want to go to her website, where can I find her on social media? And what type of clients are you looking to work with? Because they want to get the book and the workbook and the journal. So two-part question. Number one, where can I get everything? And number two, what type of clients are you looking to work with, if any, these days?
You can follow me on social media, Facebook at Tonya B. Bailey. And also my website is Tonya Bagwell Bailey. I'm on Linktree, Tonya B. Bailey, as well as Instagram at Tanya underscore B underscore Bailey. And
Well,
you
let me
can
say thanks
also
so much for
my
being on
book
the
on
happy. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead. I'm
Amazon.com.
sorry, go ahead.
This is what it looked like.
Pray without ceasing. Ah,
Yeah.
perfect. Man, congratulations to you, by the way, for getting that done. It's a major accomplishment, by the way. So thank you so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. We certainly appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And thank you, the viewers. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for Josiah for connecting us. What a collaborator he is. And thank you for watching, by the way, because without you, we don't have a show. So we don't take it lightly when you allow us to broadcast into your home. Maybe we're on your screen right now. Maybe we're on a computer and you're cooking dinner or whatever it is you're doing right now. Thank you so much. And I never get tired of reminding you every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time that you really are amazing. You really are a special human being. You really are incredible. I mean, you're someone that if they haven't told you today, you've got so much potential inside of you. And that's not foo-foo and a bunch of hyperbole. That's the truth. And I believe for you, no matter what's going on in your life, I believe that today is your January 1st, no matter what day it is. And I believe your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. Your best is still yet to come. With that being said, my name is Che Brown. I hadn't changed, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. And we'll make some good things how we connect again next time. God bless. We out here. Peace. Thank you so much, Tonya. So long, everyone.
Thank you. Mhm.